Anyways, strange. Day 3 in a row, I'm making another story video. Things happen. But, something that I've thought about for a very long time. Here's a good way to start this off with context. I think of my time in like time periods that because in school there's like first semester, second semester. Those are cut in half by first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. I thought I was in fourth quarter. Turns out I'm not. But I'll talk about the more present things as if it was, just because that's how I remember it. But when I was in last year, ninth grade, in seventh grade, I was like, oh, I don't recognize any of these people. I don't know what to do now. So I was kind of antisocial there, and so by oh my god, no. So by eighth grade, I was getting used to the idea. Like I'm not gonna recognize everyone here. It's always gonna have some different people. So I was fine by then. But after that whole thing from before, I was still thinking like about things that were like fairly negative, and I never started realizing them until like second quarter. I was realizing, oh, I'm not having good thoughts. What do I do about them? I don't know. I didn't know how I was supposed to express them, so I just kind of kept them locked inside. And every now and again, if I wanted to express it, I would literally tell it using self-deprecating humor, which could have been so broad that it just could have just felt like random dark humor that came to me off the top of my head, when it was just genuinely about certain things happening. And that's kind of definitely been a bad idea. Because it wasn't until like third quarter I started acknowledging these things, and after a while I decided, you know what, I'm gonna stop being as antisocial as I was before. I'm gonna start telling my friends about some of these things, because I do need someone to consult these things to. What happened? I got made fun of. I'm not even kidding. I got made fun of. Like, from keeping those things just locked inside and then getting made fun of afterwards, it felt terrible. It's like I just have and I don't think I have a very good mental state, and I don't think I ever will. There's always going to be like, at all times, even if I feel like I'm maybe having a good day, there's always going to be some part of my mind, some small part of my mind thinking negative things. And when I say small, it's still like more than half. So a good day is really just above, it's like directly below decent, pretty much is where it starts, it seems like. Like, normally, if you would tell someone about this, like, saying you got made fun of for all these things, a person would just say, oh, just tell them to stop. I tell them to stop several times. It never works. In fact, part of the reason I kept these things hidden inside is because I didn't want to be made fun of for them. I didn't want to be judged. And then, when they actually happened, when actually being made fun of them, I would always fear that if I tried to stop them, then I just get ridiculed even more for being sensitive. Which I will admit, I quite am. Like, but, not in the offensive way, but in the emotional way. And that kind of makes me think about not actually telling them to stop. But when it happened, I couldn't handle it. I was telling them, stop saying these things. I'm uncomfortable and I don't like what you're saying. And they kept going. They acted like I didn't say that. They acted like I was making a joke when I told them that several times. I don't talk to those people about personal things anymore. In fact, I barely talk to them now. they're I don't think I ever realized it before. They are not very good people. Because in the group friend that like main friend group I was in, where I was doing all that stuff in, only one of them ever hadn't made any like bad jokes about it. He actually listens to these things. But even then, because it's always good to have someone who will listen and appreciate these things like that. It's good that I have that guy, but I still think something, because sometimes when I say all these genuine self-deprecating things when they're not even jokes, I'm just being serious and saying these things. He's like, oh no, come on, you're a good guy. Don't think these things. But whenever he tries to do things reassuring like that, my mind doesn't fully process them properly. It just thinks, oh, he's just trying to be nice. Or maybe it's because he's my friend, so there's a slight bit of bias that's going into there. So without realizing it, he's being ungenuine. I never think the correct things about myself. And I've even thought all the time that this is a natural thing to happen. You're not always going to be thinking of yourself and seeing yourself, because through your eyes you can't see yourself, so you're not always going to be judging yourself. You see the outside world, and then you see other people who you perceive as good people, and then when you think of yourself, you think you are an entirely different person, and that may transfer to a bad direction where you think, oh, you're not as good, you're a bad person now. I've thought that's just a natural thing that happens. It happens to probably most people, and that's probably what's happening to me. That's absolutely what's happening to me, even. And yet, it doesn't stop after I make that realization. I just keep going. And I don't know why. I'm just kind of stuck in this state of self-deprecation. There's also, every once in a while things get worse like that. I signed up for a high school. My friend said, hey, it's a good idea to go to an early college. You get good classes there, you get good opportunities for degrees, college, and jobs. It looks good on a resume. So I thought that could be an interesting idea. So when the specialty program came around, I signed up for a few early colleges that I thought were interesting. There was one I found incredibly interesting that I was rooting for the most, but I still did sign up for 3 because you could go to 3 max, so I had 2 backups pretty much. But what happened was, on the very day, there was like one day where they were supposed to tell you if you got accepted or rejected from the high school. They could not have done it earlier or later than that day. It had to be on that very day. And on that day, I looked at my email, and then I first looked at the one I rooted for the most, and then, sorry, it's just very competitive. We had a lot of good people who wanted to show up, so we couldn't accept yours. And then the exact same message from another one that seemed very professional even. I thought if I didn't get accepted into the main one, that's also an incredibly good alternative. But they also said the exact same thing. And when I really think of what the exact message said, I'm thinking, they're not directly saying it, but they are implying there's a demographic there that made good videos, so for like applications saying, hey, I want to join, I'm a good person to go there. There's a demographic they realized are people who made good videos, and so that implies there's people that made bad ones, and with that message, they are indirectly implying I'm one of the bad people while trying to slightly sugarcoat it a bit. And I don't feel good about it, to be honest. That's just the sensitivity, probably. Every now and then I do kind of just say, nah, I'm just being sensitive at this point. Even if there's possible times when I'm not in this a genuine thing, I still think that all the time, so I can't differentiate these. But one thing I hated the most, there was one, because that was 2 I said. The third one, what happened was, remember, I said it could be no earlier or later, especially not later. Their email said, we haven't chosen anyone to go to our high school yet. We have not been able to actually choose any of them. There's still too many for us to look over, so we're putting everyone on a wait list. Do you want to see where you are on the wait list, where you're on the ranking? You can go here. without a link. They didn't say where. They never said where the waitlist was to check on that. They're just like, you're somewhere on there. So, pretty much, they didn't have a waitlist. They didn't have a way of showing the rank. Because it wouldn't make sense to have a place on the waitlist to show, like, ranking if you're going to be more than other people or less than other people. Because, like, if they haven't checked all of them. Because they'd have to say that waitlist thing to everyone, but then that means they'd have to say everyone is ranked somewhere, meaning they would have people that are already able to be accepted. It all was very contradictory, all of it. None of it made sense like that. And that's when I realized it's a lie. I have a friend who, she literally coincidentally signed up for all of the same things I did and got accepted into every single one of them, including that one right there. The one that said they chose no one yet. They said, "Oh, we're definitely choosing you. You can definitely come over here." Meaning the waitlist was a sugarcoating lie. It was trying to make me feel better, but I feel incredibly worse that I have to be lied to say that I'm not good enough to go somewhere. That's a bad way of saying it, because it's so easy to tell if it's a lie. Just go find someone else who went there that got accepted, and then you can immediately tell the waitlist is a lie. And it felt terrible when I learned that. I'm really just... this is 11 minutes. No one's gonna want to watch this. I just kind of need to get this out. There's a lot of stuff that happens. I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of the things that I was mocked about, as I said previously, with that group of people who one listened, the others mocked. It was that the main thing, they kept badgering me. Hey, you like someone? Who is it? Who is it? So when they literally guessed it, even they guessed who it was. They then made fun of me. Not even about the thing properly. They made things up. I thought romantically of someone, and they made lust jokes. I'm not even kidding. Like, it made me so uncomfortable. Not just that they were saying untrue and disgusting things pertaining to me, but they were attributing the person to such distasteful things. It was very uncomfortable for me. That's why I tried to draw a line and say, stop doing this. It's not good. And they kept going. They never stopped doing it. I didn't even have to bring up the subject at that point. They just kept doing it. And one of them that does incredibly bad things with those jokes is in the same classes I have that person with, meaning that if I ever were to talk to her, he'd probably just show up, walk right behind me as I'm about to say something. He likes feet. Like, he's gonna make the most absurd joke he possibly can. That just... And I get worried. And I'm gonna be honest, I kinda got worried so much that even just normal thing away from the jokes, normal romance stuff, he'd probably tell her. And I got so worried at that point that I just kind of tried to stop thinking about that entirely. And that kind of made it worse. Because then I started to drift away, and then my mind was so when I tried to go back to that, when they started doing the jokes a lot less and less, I was thinking about that again, and I was thinking, this doesn't feel right anymore. It just doesn't feel true anymore. I steered away from it, and now it just feels like it's kind of gone. It was too late. So they kind of ruined it for me. A lot of things have gotten ruined by that subject, even. It seems. And I don't know much else to say now. I think I've gotten everything out of the way with nearly exactly 15 minutes, it says up there for me. Let me set the record straight too. Something I probably should. Oh yeah, one of the people that made the jokes, pretty much, because it was that one I was worried about the most that started the lust jokes. But the other one was just kind of mocking me for liking someone. So I kept wanting to say so badly every time he made a joke, like, don't you have a girlfriend? Why are you mocking me for liking someone? Don't you like someone? Did this happen to you? I don't think people did this to you. Why are you doing it to me? Like, I'm not sure why I didn't say it. I thought it might go too far, but when I said that to my friend who listens, he said, you should have said it. You really should have. So, and I genuinely do think that, like, part of my mind always does say, if this fails, I'm not sure what's gonna happen, because I really wouldn't like to just, after getting rejected by one person, moving on to another person, because then it just feels untrue. You're just moving on from person to person is what it kind of feels like. So if that happened, I'd probably just stay single until, like, college or something. I don't know. That's really all I have to say. But yeah, I also found out something off with these just earlier today in the very last class. I Oh yeah, just last night I was thinking about that stuff with the high school rejection. I was in my bed, and right before I went to sleep, I was thinking that, and I was thinking, I'm pathetic. I'm worthless. I'm not gonna account to anything. Every single high school said, this guy does not belong anywhere. And I did not sleep well. And in the very last class today, I kind of came back to that after another thing with pertaining to a school. Not like, it's that throughout the entirety of the year, in, like, mostly the very last class of the day, whenever there's like a partner thing, oh, you can only have one partner for this activity. I really didn't know. I really don't know anyone in that class very well. The only people I know other people way better and go for those people every single time. So I can really just partner with no one. So I just kind of stay in place until someone else doesn't have a partner. And every single time that happens, like, those guys would be like, hey, he doesn't have a partner, as a joke. Like, imagine being partners with this guy. How you have to be partners with this guy. And, like, the other person takes it as a genuine insult. Heck no, I don't want to work with them. Why would I want to do that? That guy's terrible. They say that right there as if I'm not just a normal human being with normal hearing abilities and cohesiveness that can understand what you're saying. They don't understand. I have emotions. I have audibility. Yeah. And, like, those were all the rowdy kids. The one, because everyone has, like, those kids that go from each of your classes that are just all so loud and abrupt in the middle of class for no reason. And they just keep mocking me as well about it. They mock a lot of people, but they're just kind of like being annoying. And then when they go to someone that's like a bit quieter, then they just wreak havoc. That's what it kind of feels like. And weird thing. That teacher. That's the class for dismissal, since it's the last class. And that teacher most days isn't able to stay. So, she goes wherever she's going. I'm pretty sure she's like teaching volleyball. and then our class gets sent somewhere else. The math teacher said, oh, for some reason this class, a lot of people are absent. There's only 8 people today, so send as many as you want. But the social studies teacher walked in and then saw, oh, right, it's dismissal time. You can send them to my class. Oh, just pick the ones you want. Alright, I'll pick so that I don't have too many. And so he started picking them. And that's when people were realizing he's picking favorites. That's what he was doing when he was picking people to go to his room. What I mean by that isn't necessarily favorites, it's like the people that aren't bad, pretty much. Because it was the only people he didn't bring to his classroom, which probably became crowded in there, were the ones who... The people he didn't bring were the rowdy ones. And me! Apparently he thinks I'm one of the rowdy ones. So I learned that I'm not just... Because I was definitely not a favorite student, but I thought I was just one of the normal ones. No, I'm one of the unfavorited ones. The hated ones, apparently. So that's a very bad thing to learn. I'm not sure what happened to cause that, to be honest. And every once in a while, I then realized, every once in a while, he does try and, that teacher does just make me get in trouble for certain things. Like, for some reason, one of my friends was overreacting about something, messing around the entire time, screaming, and then I got in trouble. And then my friend who was screaming got in slightly less trouble. I did nothing, and then I got that punishment. In fact, I got my seat moved several times. I'm nearsighted, and one time he moved me for no reason to the far side of the classroom, even though I wasn't doing anything, and I was like so far back, because the board is right here, to the left of the classroom. I got moved all the way right and all the way back, so it was as hard as possible to see. I didn't even see blurry lines where the word should be. I saw a blob on that wall, pretty much. I couldn't identify a single thing on that screen. So I kept beckoning him multiple times. Listen to me, I need you to move my seat because I'm near... Hey, tell me in the morning. God. It took so long for me to finally tell him, I'm nearsighted. I can't see a thing on that fucking board. Move me to the front, or else I'm gonna fail even more. A very weird thing happening is that at the beginning of the year, I thought I was on good terms with that teacher. Turns out not. In another class, in ELA, no one likes ELA. I thought I was on bad terms with that teacher. I've become on better terms. It's strange how they're swapping like that. But the social studies teacher is doing far worse than the ELA teacher ever did. Yeah, my friend, but he tries to find all sorts of, the teacher finds all sorts of reasons to say I shouldn't be doing something and get me in trouble, like I said before. My friend has cerebral palsy. He can't write, but one thing he was doing is, he thought, because we're doing a project for World War I, and you could choose things to do, and he thought one of the interesting things on there was to write a letter. He could have typed it very easily, find a good handwriting font, and print it out. He did that, because he thought it'd be fun to write something like that. However, he then had to put it into an envelope, and he wanted it to look authentic. So he couldn't really print anything on an envelope. That's not how that works. So he needed to write something as someone would back then. However, he can't write very well, especially not to make something look very accurate for that time. So he asked me to help him with it, and it looked pretty good afterwards. But in the middle of me doing it, the teacher's just like, hey, remember, this is an independent project. Get back to your seat. Stop helping him. God, he can't write. What do you think I'm doing for him? You want him to write the thing himself? So my friend literally had explained to him, he's helping because I can't write. I can't fucking write. Like, and he was just like, okay, just make sure you do your own project as well. Yes, I was doing my own project. You saw me do that just beforehand. He really thinks I'm slacking off. In fact, I think I have a few assignments in this class that he hasn't graded. He's just like, you haven't done the work yet, or you haven't done it properly, so I'm not grading this whatsoever. You're getting a fail on things I completed months ago. This thing is 26 minutes now. No one's watching this. No one will. I don't think a single person will, but I just kind of needed to record this. Yeah, I think that's all.